Hello and welcome to the HubFizz EcoBiz show where you can get ideas to grow your business and make it greener. And today I'm joined by Sharon Tooke from Norfolk Industries for disabled people about running a successful community interest company, or KIC as it's known, and producing eco products and employing people with disabilities. So welcome, Sharon. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, so your community interest company produced products from recycled materials, employing people with disabilities and providing work placement to others in the local community. So you're producing products, all of the stuff that you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. We, as a business, we bring in waste streams from various sort of parts of the economy, things like tea bag and coffee filter paper, cotton from nappy manufacture, recycled newsprint paper, and we actually sort of shred that up and recycle that back into products for mainly aimed at small animals, so rabbit and smaller. So that's gerbils and guinea pigs and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're quite a big producer of that in the UK, because that's all that we do. We kind of specialise in that small animal bedding products, really. But aside from that, we also employ people with disabilities. At least half of our workforce are people with a range of disabilities. That's both physical and sort of learning disabilities. So we've got quite a range of people with different disabilities. This is something that we've always done as a business, and it's sort of part of our ethos as a business to retain at least half of the workforce as people with disabilities. On top of that, we also provide employment services to people in the local community, and we have two programs that we offer. One is a work experience program, which people sort of come in and they do work for us, and it's building soft skills, work skills, and there's definitely a social element to that as well. And then we have a more formalised program, which is our Evolve program. And that has a number of different elements included in it, including training and development, and our Gateway Assured learning modules as well, that we're kind of quite proud of as a business. And we've developed these for people with learning difficulties. So it's not classroom learning, it's through observation and activity learning. So yeah, we've got all of that going on as a business. So it's exciting stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's it's very sort of holistic view of looking at things, because you're doing sort of the environmental, the social, it's very inclusive as well as a business. And you say, like we were just talking earlier, you're one of the largest in the UK now, and you're sort of exporting to other countries as well, which is fantastic. I think that sort of specializing in something can really show that, business can do well when you do that. And you've also got that kind of social and environmental impact as well. So you now generate, you're telling us, sort of 97% of your income from the sale of goods, and just 3% comes from access to work funding. Which is quite different. That's quite amazing, because I know a lot of kind of, KICs and charities and that, rely on funding. So what was the setup before this, and how did you kind of achieve where you've got to now?
Well, in years gone by, we've got a long history going back well over 100 years as a business. But in more recent years, we used to be part of Norfolk County Council, and we actually had a lost budget that we worked to, mainly because it was seen by the local authority that it was actually cheaper to have people employed in sort of like sheltered workshops, which is kind of where we've come from, than it was to have those people in the community utilising other more expensive services. So that's where we used to sort of, as a business, we used to make a loss, and that was fine. That was something that the council used to fund. but more recently, particularly sort of 2010, when sort of government started to change and we started to go into austerity and things like that, we kind of knew that this funding wasn't always going to be available to us as a business. So we had to look at how we were going to change the business to become more commercially viable. Um, we did that over a number of years. There certainly wasn't a quick fix there, but Norfolk County Council did certainly help us, and they came in and they sort of restructured the business. We decided to concentrate on the pet bedding side of things. We did a lot of trimming costs. How the business was set up before, there were quite a number of sort of external costs that were going on, and we trimmed all of those out. We stuck our neck out and got a big contract with Pets at Home that we still actually have all of these years later. We've supplied them constantly since then. And that's the biggest contract of our kind that we can get in the UK, really. So it's massive for us. And over sort of like 2 to 3 years, we kind of developed the business towards an almost break-even scenario, really. And I think one of the hardest things that you can ask of people is a lot of these people were offered a job for life back in the 80s when we were a sheltered workshop, and then you're kind of saying, actually, it's not as cut and dry as that anymore because of the funding side of things. We need to operate as a commercial business, and you need to come along with us on this ride and be motivated to work at your best at all times and all of that sort of stuff. So it's that change of culture, which is often one of the most difficult things for a business to kind of to change, really, and and for that to really impact how you operate as a business. So it's been an amazing ride, to be fair. But yeah, that's how we kind of did our best to get the funding situation under control.
That's fantastic. Yeah, sort of becoming self-sustainable like that, where you don't rely on so many external factors, because what's been going on, sort of economy-wise, and what's happening now as well. It's just so uncertain, isn't it? So to become viable like that, I think, is an amazing thing, and it's something I think a lot of people can look at that, listen to what you've done, and take that away. So you're set up now as a community interest company. What does that involve? And I mean, we kind of touched on this a bit earlier, but how is it good for people and planet, for those who don't really know much about it?
Sure. Yeah. Well, ultimately, being a community interest company, if we do make a profit above all of our costs, that profit, or surplus as we call it, is reinvested back into the business. And that's always great for staff, because it motivates them. We're not paying shareholders or anything like that. So any surplus that we make is reinvested back into the business, and that might be with machinery, with improvements to our services, with improvements to the environment, and so on. So a community interest is definitely what we are and what we should be as a business, and that certainly has helped with this moving towards being commercially viable as well.
Yeah. And just quickly, I know this wasn't sort of in our questions, but all the stuff that you get to turn into the bedding, is that supplied from the council, or is it local businesses and that they come and drop that off?
We source that material, so we get it from all over the country, actually. And we go out and find our own sort of sourcing and our supply routes. I think because of who we are, we're really lucky in that we have quite a loyal sort of supply route base. But we buy some of the materials are given to us, but generally we buy that. There is a value to it. We buy it in, and then we kind of repurposing these different materials back into products. So yeah.
Fantastic. And lastly, what is your top eco tip?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, actually. I would say that as a business, it's really important to look at what waste you're generating, and whether there's any waste that you do generate that can actually be repurposed into another product. There are a lot of businesses out there that are just getting rid of cardboard tubes and boxes and packing and things like that, that actually businesses like ours, we could make a product potentially out of that. I've got an example. The paper reels that we bring in for our products, they had a cardboard tube in the middle. We were throwing that away. We're now repurposing that into a new product, which is our chewy tubes. And so we're actually almost repurposing our own waste. So yeah, that would be my top tip for businesses. That look at what you are wasting, and whether that can be utilized by anything or any business anywhere else into something else, really.
Yeah, brilliant. Love that. Love that. And I think as well, I'd love there to see kind of some sort of setup like that as well, where you go, okay, you've got this, I've got that. I don't know if there's some out there, but maybe we can chat afterwards and, just see if there is anything I can share with the
Yeah,
audience afterwards.
there
So you
did
can find
used to
out
be a
more.
site.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a look for it again, and it seems as though it sort of dropped off the radar. But there did used to be a site where you could register what waste you had, and I don't think that was just county-wide. I think it was sort of more national. But when I logged on or tried to find it a couple of days ago, I couldn't find it at all. But yeah, we need something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Because one person's waste is another man's treasure, as they say.
It
So
is.
I think that would be amazing. Anyway, so you can find out more about Norfolk Industries at norfolkindustries.co.uk. I think
Yep.
you've got lots of information on the website, haven't you, that people can have a
Yes.
look at, see what you do. And
Yes.
obviously, if you want any pet bedding and everything, yours is the place to go, or you
Oh,
go
yes.
buy a Pets for Us or anything like that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of product in other retailers, but a lot of it is under their own brand. So we're a little bit anonymous in the marketplace. But we've got a new website launching next week, actually, and we've got a full shop on there. So yeah, by all means, come and have a look.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Sharon. Such a pleasure to have you on the show. Really, really good. And to our
Thanks for having
viewers,
me.
if you're watching live, or you're watching the replay later, please do leave your comments. We'll look out for those, and we'll see you same time next week. Take care.